DBBR 218 Diesel Loco, coming soon. It's time to hit the main line with the thundering diesel power. The DBBR 218, developed by TSG, is coming June 25th. The current German rail network is defined largely by long, high-speed electrified lines, hosting a range of powerful electric locomotives. But that wasn't always the case. A fleet of powerful, noisy diesel hydraulic locomotives once roamed the tracks, with the DBBR 218 taking up both passenger and freight duties on both main and branch lines. The locomotive. Prototypes of the 218 were first built in the late 1960s, before the main run of locos entered service between 1971 and 1979. They became staple locomotives running across West Germany due to their impressive power output of up to 2800 HP and a top speed on 140 km per hour. Like many German locomotives, their use was extended over many decades through until the early 2000s, with many examples still being active today. As time progressed, they slowly began to be replaced by more efficient DMUs and electric traction as more parts of the network switched to electrified lines. Many remain in use for a variety of services and in recent decades have been allocated to push-pull operations on certain lines, long-distance mainline passenger trains and hauling out-of-service ICE units, as well as occasional heritage rail tours. In-game, the DBBR 218 is recreated with a detailed cab and exterior, allowing players to experience the thrill of mainline diesel traction for the first time in train sim world. The audio has been sourced from a real-world driver of this type of locomotive, with the exterior also being modeled based on detailed imagery from the real thing. This loco, like most other older German classes, needs some patience and foresight when driving it. Its usage is similar to the tap changer locos, such as the BR110, where you need to throttle down before you can start braking. The time needed for going from notch 15 to 2 and then 0 is about 25 seconds. It's also important to use the correct transmission gear for the type of train you run. 1 Gear 2, fast gear, gives you about 160 knots max force at slow speeds, ramping down quickly when getting up to speed. So this is only meant for light trains running with up to 140 km per hour max speed. 2 Gear 1, slow gear, gains up to 220 knots of force and is best used with heavy freight trains with a max speed of 100 km per hour. 3 The hydrodynamic brake is not that powerful, with only 90 knots max braking force, but can be quite useful for maintaining speed down gradients. It's coupled to the train brake as usual and uses brake blending with the pneumatic brake. Cold starting the locomotive also requires patience and can take some time. Otherwise it's a fun and easy to drive locomotive. The routes, services and gameplay. Hauptstrecke Hamburg, Lübeck. The primary route for the DBBR 218 Loco add-on is the Train Sim World compatible Hauptstrecke Hamburg, Lübeck route add-on. Here players can operate the 218 in timetable mode across 29 services. 15 X-Re83 services that run from Hamburg to Lübeck, Kiel, hauling and wagons. 1 X-Re83 service, 11,446, from Hamburg to Lübeck hauling a BR112 and Dustos. 2 X-Re85 services that run from Hamburg to Lübeck, Puttgarden, hauling Dustos. 11 X-Freight services that run between Rothenburgsort and Lübeck using included freight. The 218 leads on northbound services. In addition, further services include 16 X-Re83 services that run from Lübeck to Hamburg using the N-Wagon cab car. 1 X-Re83 service, 11,447, that runs from Lübeck to Hamburg using the Dusto cab car, with a 112 in the formation. 1 X-Re83 depot service. 2 X-Re85 services that run from Lübeck to Hamburg using the Dusto cab car. With the DBBR218 and all other layers, Hamburg, Lübeck now has 271 playable services. In addition to the BR218 layer, with this timetable update, owners of Maintalbahn will find that the DBBR628 in its modern red livery also now appears as AI at Lübeck HBF. The 218 is not required for this additional layer. 4 scenarios are also included for this route covering both passenger and freight operations. Maintalbahn. Players with both Hamburg, Lübeck and Maintalbahn will be able to operate additional services on the more recent Maintalbahn route add-on. This is to represent a period between December 2017 and 2018 where West Frankenbahn required additional traction to replace a DBBR 642 that had been allocated elsewhere. A DBBR 218 was provided. There are a total of 19 XRB88 and a handful of shunting depot services. The 218 operated RB services instead of RE, as in reality, RE services on the Maintalbahn operate on a request stop basis, but the Dustos have no ability to request a stop and the 218 driver wouldn't be able to see it, whereas the RB services are all stoppers anyway. Players can also enjoy an express-style service in free roam to recreate the occasion of a 218 rail tour which arrived on the line in 2019. These locomotives, albeit in liveries not represented in-game, also ran along lines in Link Rheinstrecke and Maintalbahn which players can choose to represent in free roam. Train Sim World 4. DBBR 218 Loco add-on will be available from June 25 for Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Epic Games Store, and Steam for £14.99/ Euro 17.99/ $17.99. You can join the Railfan TV team on Twitch and YouTube for a launch day stream of the Loco add-on in action at 1800 hours UTC/1900 hours BST on Tuesday, June 25.